Welcome to Intuitive Alchemy, where we recode your reality from the inside out. I'm your host, Sydney, trained intuitive, energetic alchemist, and certified hypnotherapist. And this podcast is here for the woman who is done playing small. Here, we go deep into energy, identity, universal law, source truths, and the neuroscience behind what actually creates lasting change. No fluff, no filters, just conversations that shift your frequency and call you back to the most powerful version of you, the one who knows it was always her and it can only be gotten from her. Let's get into it. Hello and welcome back to Intuitive Alchemy. First off, how are we doing this full moon in Scorpio? Some full moons hit me like a ton of bricks, but I'm actually not experiencing that with this one. I'm recording this on Monday, the day of the full moon, and I just wanted to bring something up. So a lot of times we see things on, like, especially social media, Instagram, TikTok. If you follow like astrologers or Instagram or TikTok astrologers, you'll see these like infographics or posts or whatever talking about, oh, we've got this new moon coming up, we've got this full moon, and like here are the themes and here's what you're probably going to be feeling and experiencing. And that may be true. Like, obviously every astrological sign has like an energy or a theme or an archetype, whatever, that could be brought into that new moon or full moon experience. But it's also important not to like get too rooted into that story and believing that that is going to be your experience, because it really might not. Like, some full moons, yeah, some of them have me like on my ass and I'm just like, oh my God, I just like need to lay in bed and not do a single thing. And then some full moons, I like don't even realize that it was a full moon until I see something that said like, oh yeah, yesterday was a full moon or whatever. And I'm like, oh, I felt great. I was in flow and I was having a great time. So just remembering that the stories that we tell ourselves are what will be true for us. So if you believe that full moons are always going to suck and have you in like a bad energy and you're just fatigued, and or if you believe that they just like make people act crazy all the time, like that's what you're going to experience. That is what is going to be reflected back to you. So just let it be what it's going to be without judgment and without putting too much expectation on it. So that was just a quick little thing I wanted to bring up. But today I really want to talk about something that has me just like so in awe, which so many things have me in awe. But this is something that, even though I live and breathe these practices and this work that I talk about, is still on the regular, blows my mind how clearly and quickly the universe mirrors back to us what we believe to be true. So today I'm going to deep dive into something called thought broadcasting and how the emotional ingredients that we hold inside, they don't just shape our thoughts, they shape our literal reality. So these are not just like little mindset hacks, little mindset shifts. They're energetic identity shifts. And when you start shifting your inner broadcast, the beliefs, the frequency, the stories you're telling yourself, you will start noticing people literally repeating back to you your own thoughts and beliefs. And of course, I have some real life stories for you of how I'm experiencing this. So let's just dive right on in. What is thought broadcasting? This is something that I actually hadn't heard this term until like earlier this year. And it's so freaking cool and interesting. So thought broadcasting is what happens when the energy of your inner dialogue, especially the stuff that is charged with emotion, starts showing up outside of you. It's when people around you start to literally reflect what you're thinking, believing, and saying about yourself or to yourself. And it's not always going to be verbal. In fact, typically it won't be if you're not saying the things, the new beliefs out loud to yourself. But it can show up in like energy, body language, opportunities, people's tone, or actual word for word mirror moments. But here is the key. It is not just about what you think. It's about what you feel underneath the thoughts. And I know I've talked about that before in an episode, but everything is about the feeling. I think that was episode 1 that I talked about that. But it is the emotional ingredients that get picked up by the field around you, your creator field. Emotionally connecting is always going to be, always, the differentiator in something taking root or not taking root. So if you're telling yourself, I have amazing ideas, but underneath that is a fear of expressing yourself, or there's some self-doubt, what the world picks up is the underlying frequency, not the statement of, I have amazing ideas. The identity you're holding inside, that's what the broadcast is, or that's what's going to be broadcast out and then therefore mirrored back to you. Because one thing about the universe is it is always listening and always mirroring. So I just mentioned how it's not always verbal, meaning someone literally saying to you the exact thing that you're working on emotionally rooting to, aka your emotional ingredient. Once you root to that ingredient, so the example would be in this case, like what I just said, I have amazing ideas. People will start to recognize and think this about you. Once you start to root to it, people will start to recognize this about you and think this about you. However, if you want them to actually say it out loud to you, like not just having the thought, because I mean, like there's plenty of times when I think something about someone, but I don't always say it. So in order to get them to actually say it out loud to you, you have to also say it out loud to yourself and emotionally connect to it. So you're not just going to look at yourself in the mirror and be like, I have amazing ideas, and then go on about your day, like not believing that you have, or feeling like you have amazing ideas. So if you're just like, WTF, what are you talking about? I'm going to tell a story, like a very, very specific story of how this is playing out in my life and has played out in my life recently. So hopefully that will help it make sense. Okay, so let me get a quick sip of water. Okay, I'm back. All right, so I think this was in March that this happened. I got a like little reading from one of my like main mentors, and she told me that one of my soul gifts is creativity. We all have multiple soul gifts, and one of mine is creativity. And she was saying like it's at 98%, meaning like I am incredibly, almost 100% creative. And like Olympic level athlete is like 93%. So if you're anything 93% or above at any gift or quality, you are literally like next level Olympic athlete at that thing. So I'm Olympic athlete level at creativity. She goes, but the problem is you think all of your ideas are dumb as fuck. And oh my God, I was just like, yeah, that's true. I didn't consciously realize that I had that belief. But when I thought about it a little bit more, I'm just like, yeah, I totally know that that's true. And I can think of dozens of instances where I told myself that an idea was stupid, or I didn't speak up and say what I was thinking out loud because I assumed it was just dumb and it wouldn't add anything valuable, which is a total lie, complete lie. But this is just such an example of how so many of the limiting beliefs and the programming that we hold is going undetected because you're not consciously aware of them. Like, it's not like I was actually going around thinking to myself and saying, all my ideas are dumb as fuck, so I'm not going to share any of them ever. But this is what was in my creator field. And when I look and think back, I mean, there were so many times when I was afraid to speak up or suggest something in a meeting or share an idea that I was having because of this subconscious program of my ideas are stupid. Therefore, I don't need to share them and I shouldn't share them. And I will get into this in another episode very soon, but this was also the main emotional root cause of me developing hypothyroidism and Hashimoto's autoimmune disorder. And so the emotional root cause of any kind of thyroid issue is unexpressed or suppressed creativity and or anger. And the emotional root cause of an autoimmune disorder is attacking yourself and or perfectionism. And then to get more specific with the Hashis, it's attacking your ideas and suppressing your self-expression. So because I had been suppressing my ideas and my creativity and my true self-expression for so long, my higher self gave me a reflection in the form of a body ailment because my higher self knew that that would get my attention and that I would eventually discover the world of emotional root causes and ingredients and all of this life-changing information, and that I would heal it, I would shift it, and I would heal it. And if you're like, what are reflections? What are you talking about? If you don't understand that, go to episode 2. That's where I talk about reflections, and I will also be talking a lot more about reflections specifically in the form of body ailments very soon because I have a lot of experience with those. Yay. Okay, so back to the story. I started running this new emotional ingredient of every single idea that I have is brilliant and I am a creative genius. I titled a note in my phone with this ingredient, and I started adding in any tiny little moment or happening that proved this ingredient, this belief to be true. So I started with things like, it was a brilliant idea to listen to that podcast episode today because it had something in it that I really needed. Or I am a creative genius because Corey's stepmom came to our house for the first time and she said that our home looks like something you would see in a magazine or an HGTV show, and I decorated it. And from there, I mean, I have so many, I'm still working on this. I have so many ingredients or like examples in there. And it keeps getting more and more in depth because I started seeing how I really am incredibly creative and I do have amazing ideas. So as I'm adding to this ingredient list, I'm not just thinking it. I'm feeling it. I'm really stepping into this new reality of someone who embodies these soul gifts. And like I said, everyone has multiple soul gifts. So this is not me just like bragging about being creative. Everybody has multiple of these gifts that you are Olympic level at. And it's really cool whenever you get to find out like what they are. Okay, so fast forward. I am so freaking serious, you guys. Almost immediately, the reflections of this new belief started just like pouring in. People in all aspects of my life started calling my ideas brilliant. They started praising me for how creative I am, like using that word. They weren't just like, "Oh, you're really good at this." They were like, "You are so creative. You are literally such a creative." And it was almost weird how many people started going out of their way, completely out of their way, to text me or something and to tell me how creative I am and how they love X thing that I did or said. So I emotionally started taking root to this new ingredient, which led to me saying to myself over and over that I am a creative genius and every idea I have is brilliant, and reinforcing this new belief or these new beliefs with the micro moments that prove this to be true, the everyday things that were happening. I wasn't waiting for something huge to write it down. I was any tiny little thing like, oh, this was so brilliant that it was such a brilliant idea to take this exit instead of the other one because there wasn't very much traffic on this one, and usually there is. Like literally anything tiny to prove that to be true. And then because of that, because I was doing all of that, it started broadcasting through my creator field, my electromagnetic field. And then it was received by the people in my life to mirror that back to me, because as we talked about in a previous episode, your creator field is literally just handing people scripts for how to treat you, how to talk to you, like how to deal with you, essentially, what to reflect back to you. So most importantly though, more important than people reflecting this back to me, most importantly, my own thoughts and my own self-image started to dramatically shift as this new belief sunk in deeper and took root. My inner dialogue softened, which that's a big one because I am a recovering perfectionist, and I have had the tendency of being incredibly mean to myself and speaking really harshly to myself. So my inner dialogue softened. It is still softening. This is a journey. The inner critic is getting quieter every day. It's not something that happens overnight. I wish it could, but it just doesn't. That's not how it works. So what's forming is this knowing, like, oh yeah, this idea is genius. I can act on this. I can trust this. I can trust me because what I bring forth is valuable. And this is a gift that I have just naturally. So one more of my favorite recent moments that really just showed this to be true in my reality, and it is a small thing, but it was so loud. I mean, immediately when it happened, I was just like, oh my God, holy shit, like this really works. So, and I already knew that, but of course we love to just see it still happen. So Corey and I, we were hiking recently. We live in Phoenix, and so there's obviously a ton of hiking trails and mountains and everything. And so there's this one particular hike that we had done a few times, and like we really like it, but it's hard, especially for me because I am short. I'm 5'3", and all the way on the uphill, we're just like climbing this mountain, and it's so much climbing in like huge steps, which for Corey, I mean, he's really tall. He's like 6'3" or 6'4". So for him, like it's just a step. For me, it's like half of the length of my body, and so it's really hard. So I was like, I'm going to get a hiking pole. Like, I'm going to get a hiking pole, and that will help me. And so that will make this much more like it'll still be very challenging, but it will make it more enjoyable for me. So I get a hiking pole. I get on Amazon, I order a hiking pole. And so we're hiking. It's like the day after our anniversary. Actually, it was actually our anniversary. It was our anniversary. We went hiking, and I'm using the pole for the first time. The hike was still hard, but it did make it a lot easier. It was definitely doing what I needed it to do, especially on the uphill portion. And so on this hike, the whole time I'm thinking, man, this was such a good idea to get this pole. I am so glad I got this pole. This is making it so much easier. That was so smart of me to get this pole. Those exact words I'm thinking. And I probably even said it out loud a few times. I'm sure that I did to Corey. And then I am not exaggerating. On the way down the mountain, we pass this older couple and they're going up. And the woman looks at me and says, "Smart idea having that pole." And I was just like, are you kidding me? As soon as they were out of earshot, I told Corey about how that was literally a thought broadcast in action. She said to me the exact thing I had been thinking and saying to myself, not only just on this hike, which I was on this hike, but not only that, but for weeks and probably even like a month or two prior that I had been working on with this emotional ingredient list about having smart and brilliant ideas and being a creative genius. So it's like the thought had just broadcast out and immediately landed in this lady's consciousness for her to deliver it back to me. And she did. She was just a mirror delivering confirmation to me in real freaking time. And again, I live this stuff. Like I teach it, I practice it, I'm always talking about it. I see it all the time. But moments like this never stop amazing me. Never ceased to amaze me. I was like, hold on, that didn't feel right. That didn't feel right. Never ceased to amaze me. I love seeing this in real time. Like it's just so cool. So one of the other emotional ingredients that I've been working with is around my voice and speaking up, mostly in the energetic sense. So like how I take up space, how I speak my truth, how I use my words as creative power. And so I started implementing this new ingredient, which what is my voice is incredibly powerful and special, and every time I speak up, it benefits me and everyone around me. So I started clocking any moment or happening that proved this to be true. So these could be things like I spoke up when Corey upset me or hurt my feelings, and then we talked about it and completely resolved the situation, and now everything is wonderful. Or I spoke up about the idea that I had in that meeting, and people received it so well and just like went on about what a great perspective that was or what a great idea that was. So again, I'm not just saying it. Like I'm not just writing these things down like without emotion. I am feeling it. I'm really recognizing like, no, this thing happening proves this ingredient to be true. So guess what started happening? Literally immediately after I released my first podcast episode, which is of course an exercise of me using my voice, hopefully, and hoping that, everyone around me is going to benefit. Everyone who listens is going to benefit. Multiple people within 24 hours of my first episode being published, multiple people told me completely unprompted, "I just love the sound of your voice. Your voice is so calming. I could listen to you talk all day. I wish that you could narrate the thoughts in my head." Like multiple people said things like this to me. And I was like, okay, this is wild. I wasn't even focused on the actual sound of my voice. But even just implementing this ingredient has changed the way that my voice sounds and resonates with people. And it's not just that I'm talking more, it's that I started to believe energetically that my voice has value and that it's safe to be heard and that it's safe to say what I want to say, whatever matters to me. And then my reality started mirroring that back to me. So that's the power of these micro shifts. You don't need to do more. You need to become the version of you who believes that it's already true. All right. So why does this happen? Like the whole mirroring thing. Why does this happen? It is not magic. It's not magic. It feels magical, but it's not magic. It's resonance. It's quantum physics. It's frequency. When your internal state shifts, when your emotional baseline aligns with a new identity, you literally start vibrating at a different frequency. And everything in your creator field begins to then organize itself around that. People start seeing you differently because you first see and perceive yourself differently. It's not because they changed. It's because you are no longer projecting the old pattern or the old programming. And people are only ever picking up on what is in your creator field. What is in your energy that's being projected to them. That's what they're picking up on. Your field is like your filter, and then your belief is your broadcast. That is what you're broadcasting out. And the moment that that broadcast can become coherent and in line with what you actually want to create and who you actually want to be, that's when the mirror, aka your reality, becomes crystal clear. And that's also when you start to really enjoy your reality, because you're like, okay, this is what I want. More of this, please. More of this. Because you're like, okay, now I'm aligned with the version of me who receives these things and who is these things. So here's what I want to leave you with. If your reality is a mirror, what is it showing you? This is your homework this week. It's a little bit less specific than the last 2 weeks, but I want you to look at your reality as if it is literally a mirror, because it is. What is it showing you? If the people around you are repeating your internal dialogue or just how you're being to yourself, what are they reflecting? Write down some things, like what are some repeating things that are happening that you're like, I don't think I love this. I don't think I love this. This isn't aligning with really what I want and who I want to be. So if you change just one ingredient, if you shifted just one belief, what might echo back? What might be mirrored back to you? And then try this week. Pick one thought or belief that you want to shift. You can do more, but if that feels overwhelming, just start with one. One can still make a huge difference and impact in your life, I promise you. Pick one thought or belief that you want to shift, one identity shift, one emotional ingredient. And like I said, just to give you these examples one more time, let me tell you the two that I talked about. I'm going to find them so I can tell you literally exactly what they say. Okay, so the first one that I did, and I'm not telling you to do these exact ones unless they really resonate with you, but this is just like kind of the format. Every single idea that I have is brilliant, and I am a creative genius. Okay, that's the first one I talked about. And then the second one, my voice is incredibly powerful and special, and every time I speak up, it benefits me and everyone around me. Okay, so pick one emotional ingredient that feels really expansive to you, and it feels like, okay, this is what I would need to be true, that what I would need to believe about myself to be true to become that next level version of myself, or to call in my dream relationship or my dream job, or, whatever the thing is that you're wanting to align with. Even if it feels bold, even if it feels like stretchy, you're like, ooh, okay, that might be a little much. Start small. Start embodying it as the belief takes root, which it will. It will start to take root. The more that you add in those little micro moments, you're proving it to be true. You're getting your subconscious mind on board. Start embodying that. And then watch what mirrors back. You will be like, holy shit, this is real. I promise you. And I can't wait to hear. Like, you have to DM me and just like tell me what's happening for you, because I can't wait to hear. And if you want help knowing what specific ingredients would benefit you most right now, feel free to book a one-on-one reality recode with me, where I will go deep into your thought field, your creator field, to see what's currently blocking you from creating what you desire and aligning with what you desire. And I will get specific physical and energetic tools from your higher self that will help you shift ASAP. This is incredibly specific, and there's no time wasted, because we're not just aimlessly having you try a bunch of things that may or may not work for you. I'm going straight to your higher self, straight to the source, your higher self, and getting the exact ingredients that you need right now to transform. Like, literally, what is the next step you need to take? What is the next limiting belief you need to shift? That's what we're doing. You can book one of these sessions via the link in the show notes, and it's also available at the link in my Instagram bio. And one last thing, I am running a monthly giveaway for a free mini reality recode. So what I just talked about is a full length reality recode, which is 70 minutes, but I'm doing a giveaway for a free mini reality recode where you can get specific guidance and tools from your higher self on 2 questions or topics that you really want to like know more about or figure out what is blocking you. So all you have to do to enter this giveaway is to leave me a written 5-star review on Apple or Spotify. Take a screenshot of it before you submit it. This is really important, because after you click submit, it's going to disappear and go to like review, and then you won't be able to see it. So take that screenshot before you submit it, and then DM me that screenshot on Instagram at Intuitively Sydney. Again, Sydney is SIDNEY, not SYDNEY. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for spelling my name wrong. And I will pick one winner per month on this. So I hope you have an absolutely amazing rest of your week, and I will talk to you soon. If this episode sparked something in you, share it with a friend who needs it. Take a screenshot, post it to your Instagram story, and tag me at Intuitively Sydney. That's SIDNEY. I would love, love, love to see who's tuning in so I can connect with you and celebrate you. Have an amazing week, and I will talk to you next Tuesday.